It is Monday, October 11. I'm Sam Cedar.
And I'm Lucy Steiner. Which one of these stories will you be talking about today?
The Trump campaign is grasping at straws. This weekend alone, it's used Dr. Anthony Fauci's words out of context in a campaign ad and pushed to resume the canceled October 15th debate after claiming the president is miraculously COVID-free. Meanwhile, a strange shooting at a Denver protest leads the far right to jump to conclusions about the shooter, even as it turns out he was a private security guard, not a protester. And lastly, confirmation hearings for Trump's Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett begin today. VP candidate Kamala Harris will get her chance to rake Barrett over the coals.
You're listening to Majority.fm's AM Quickie, and these are the stories you need to know.
Let's check in with the Trump campaign. It is Monday, October 11, and will you look at that? They're lying again. This time, it's in a campaign ad where the Trump team used a quote from Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's foremost infectious disease expert, where he says, quote, "I can't imagine that anybody could be doing more," end quote. Fauci's words are framed as if he's talking about Trump's response, as the ad sets Trump up as the hero who defeated COVID both personally and throughout the country. But that's clearly not how the original quote first appeared. The full quote, as the Washington Post noted, does not refer to Trump. Instead, it refers to the White House's task force, and specifically to Dr. Fauci and a few of his colleagues' own workload. The campaign ad is just one little drop of misinformation after a weekend of lies. On Sunday, Trump also claimed that his doctors had pronounced him healthy and, quote, immune to the virus, as well as not contagious. The president's personal physician issued a statement that said Trump isn't contagious, but who knows how far we can trust them. That claim was so outlandish that even a notoriously permissive Twitter struck it behind a misinformation banner. But the Trump administration is still using it to push for a resumption of the in-person October 15th debate with Joe Biden. The event was canceled last week as Biden understandably didn't want to be in a room with typhoid Trump, and Trump refused to do the event virtually. Doesn't seem like a smart move for Biden to back down now, but we'll see what this week holds. Dueling far-right and Black Lives Matter demonstrations in Denver this weekend saw more violence as a security guard shot and killed one protester who many assume was part of the right-wing camp. Immediately after the incident, however, the right-wing fever swamp kicked into high gear, claiming the shooter had ties to Antifa movements. Tim Pool and other assorted alt-right social media dweebs initially blasted out the news that the shooter was connected to Antifa, and then walked it back as facts started to come out. What we know so far is still a bit unclear. The shooter is 30-year-old Matthew Doloff, who was contracted as a security guard by a local news station, 9 News. 9 News say they hired him from the Pinkerton agency, which, still exists. However, reps from the city of Denver say Doloff has never held the Representatives from the city of Denver say Doloff has never held the requisite license to perform armed security work in the city. In other words, it's a chaotic, bad situation all around. The victim has not been identified, although video of the scene shows the victim in a confrontation with another protester wearing a Black Guns Matter shirt and later spraying mace toward another armed individual before being shot by someone, allegedly Doloff, off camera. But what the early reaction to this shows is that any violence, particularly deadly shootings, that's connected to protests is going to be immediately weaponized to fit someone's narrative. The faster those jumped-up conclusion spreads, the more certain we can be that the violence will continue.
Majority.fm's AM Quickie is fueled by JustCoffee.coop. Just Coffee is a worker-owned coffee roaster based in Madison, Wisconsin that has sponsored the Majority Report for nearly a decade. Check out their collection of fair trade roasts, including our own Majority Report blend. And regardless of what you order, receive 10% off your order when you use the code MAJORITY at checkout. And all shipping is free. That's coupon code MAJORITY at JustCoffee.coop.
Despite, some effort by the Democrats to delay, confirmation hearings for Trump's Supreme Court candidate Amy Coney Barrett will begin. Barrett will first go up against the Senate Judiciary Committe, the body in charge of pre-vetting judicial nominees before they go to a full confirmation vote in the Senate. The hearings start at 9 a.m. with Lindsey Graham, the ranking GOP member, and Dianne Feinstein, the ranking Democrat, stating their cases. Barrett will go up against the Republican-controlled Senate Judiciary Committe, the body in charge of pre-vetting judicial nominees before they go to a full confirmation on the Senate floor. The hearings start at 9 a.m. with Lindsey Graham, the chairman and ranking GOP member, and Dianne Feinstein, the ranking Democrat, stating their opening cases. But what may surely take center stage is Kamala Harris's involvement. Harris announced that she would attend the hearings remotely from her office rather than going into the room herself, as the GOP has flagrantly refused to comply with the Democrats' request that they submit to basic coronavirus protocols. Still, it'll be a chance for the potential next VP to go head-to-head with Trump's best shot at completely controlling the Supreme Court for decades after he's out of power. 2 GOP members of the Judiciary Committee are still locked down with COVID diagnoses, as is one other senator, so the votes still aren't quite there for Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. But if Trump's quick, quote, recovery is any indication, the GOP won't let a pesky, deadly disease keep them from doing as much fascism as possible in the time they have left.
And now for some quicker quickies.
Quicker Quickie.
According to an Axios report on Sunday night, the Biden campaign is considering New York Governor Andrew Cuomo for Attorney General if they win the election. On the bright side, he won't be able to botch New York's pandemic response again, but he will be able to go soft and mushy on any white-collar crime he encounters. Can't wait for everything to be back to normal. Jamie Harrison, the Democrat challenging longtime GOP ghoul Lindsey Graham, blew Senate fundraising records out of the water, raising a staggering $57 million in the third quarter of 2020. It's a good thing for the Democrats as much as it is a depressing sign of how much big money rules our political system. A new report by The Intercept shows that federal agents in Portland used smoke grenades containing hexachloroethane during protests this summer. The chemical is reportedly highly toxic and can cause nausea, vomiting, central nervous system depression, kidney and liver damage. The White House is still flailing about in regards to a new stimulus bill, pivoting once again on Sunday evening to try and push Congress for immediate action on a narrow measure that would take unused funding from the PPP program and divert it to small businesses, as the country may be catching on that it's Trump and the GOP who are willfully destroying them in the name of politics.
Quicker Quickie.
That's all for the AM Quickie. Join us this afternoon live at noon for the Majority Report and then later as a podcast.